believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every day and night. I spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar. I see me running through that open door. I believe I can fly. Now those aren't prolific lyrics, but you got to remember that was a Space Jam movie theme song that Alice and I watched about a zillion times. You know, overseas you didn't have a lot of TV, so we had VHS movies, and we watched that over and over. And I remember in Pensacola, when he was about 10 or 11, he would sing from his heart. It would explode out of his body, and he would sing, "I can fly. I believe I can fly." And it reminded me, actually, Jeff, of our dad singing in church. And he would sing his heart out, too. The only problem was, he, like most divers, who can't keep a tune in a bucket. So my mom, who had a really pretty voice, actually was able to sing a little louder and drown him out a little bit. It was always a discussion in the car on the way home. But as I said, we divers, we don't let anyone else's reality hold us back from being who we are. And that's hell or high water. Listen, there's no better feeling to a parent than to hear from others the positive praise and attributes of one of your offspring. It's the highest compliment one can receive, and it sort of validates our existence, our importance. In the Navy term, it was a job well done. So to speak in our roles as parents, our pride today is overwhelming, as is our pain in his passing. Please indulge me just a few minutes here. Alex was born in the Naval Hospital in Naples, Italy. It was a converted hotel, and after 1984, they got a whole bunch of earthquake swarms, and after they subsided around the area, most of the surrounding buildings and the town were damaged to some extent. The floor of this hospital below us was actually condemned. It was odd that past the dentistry floor, skipped the floor, ended up to the maternity ward. I wanted to make sure we got out of there as soon as we possibly could. I was up to Merci. We had a commander midwife nurse flew up from the NAS Sigonella, Sicily, and delivered Alex to us just about 30 years ago. And that was back in the 15th of August in 1988. We drove him home in our apartment in a 79 VW Westfalia Volkswagen. And that was a new one. I had a 72 with a 1300cc, so we were living large with this one. But really, just like that, we came home and we were parents. Like a snap of your fingers. There was no immediate or extended family to celebrate us, but it didn't really matter. We were together, just us. And this little boy with a very, very big name. I helped in that, and it was Alexander the Great. The conqueror of the known world at 18. You see, I was the youngest of 3 brothers, and I was 5'7" in the end, so you can get the reason of making things a little bigger, a little better. Andrew's named after Miami's hurricane in 1992, and Victoria is named after my dad. So I'd like to think they all have significant and big names, just like our dog with big paws. You see, Alex came from a very romantic and wonderful love story, and that was between my wife, Merci, and I. I've seen many of the same examples here, from Alex and Kelsey to all of their friends, wonderful friends. I made a small list of things that I remember and love best while raising our son Alex. I say while raising Merci, I have to give her the nod on the best results, but I was there and I did participate. I don't think we need a test or anything like that. Some of the most wonderful things is watching Alex sleep in Mercy's arms. And believe me, this is not like Ezra by any means. When he was asleep, it was a beautiful thing. I remember coming in on many mid-watches and squeezing into the bed, and he was tucked in right in between us. His open arms stretched out, jumping in the swimming pool while learning to swim, riding a bike without training wheels, teaching him to hit a wiffle ball. I think you saw the picture up there. And playing catch, climbing trees, playing with old tractors, trucks, G.I. Joes, buying him all the Hot Wheel cars that All of this really was just a good excuse for me to play like a kid again. We'd make up games in the bed of steamrollers and skyscrapers and some huge bed wrestling that was out of control. Usually some of the pieces on the furniture would be knocked over. But I especially liked shooting Estes rockets. I'm not sure if you're all aware of what Estes rockets are. They were big in the 70s, and most of our school science projects would have them. And a very simple thing, they put an engine in, and light it on fire with a DC battery, and away it would go. You should keep on remembering that for a second. As he grew up, we quoted Ghostbuster movies and endless jokes, watching him play soccer for like a zillion years as well, teaching him to fish, what's in the woods, gun safety, many trips we made together on the waters off Spain, fishing for tarpon in the canals of Miami, Carlisle Lake fishing with Uncle Jeff, and all those Gulf of Mexico runs out of Pensacola Pass. And that's when Alex was becoming a man. And that's where all his teenage growing pains were lost at sea once the ropes were cast off. You see, when you're on the water, shouting, fish on, or grab the reel, get the net, take the helm, steer straight for God's sake, don't tangle the lines. All of those orders from a crusty senior chief. He took them all because we had a common goal. We basically could put away home and school and work matters. All of that didn't matter. It was just me and him at sea working together for a common, simple goal. And of course the byproducts, just being out there together. I remember spotting turtles, being on the blue water, diving birds, schools of bonita, the smell of an outboard running wide open on a plane, and leaving a smooth wake behind us. We'd come home and strut like peacocks. We'd have fish in our hands because we were the hunting gatherers of the diver clan. We were bringing fish home to Mama. In fact, we had a separate freezer specifically designed to hold fish for Miss Mary. I remember him learning to drive stick shift, buying his first car, his second car, his third car, fourth car, and even with Kelsey, we helped, me and Andrew helped do that fifth car as well. I remember them all. Andrew's story now about cars is a bit more complicated. Chuck, I think you can probably relate to that. Then eventually, I remember him asking us his future after high school. He talked about marriage, he talked about work careers, he talked about the Marines, just to scare Mom, I think. He talked about a desire to take a walkabout in Patagonia. And as you know, as parents who pay for college and help him move along, that really wasn't on my priority list, as I told him. And he even talked about being a pastor. Then eventually, it was his turn to advise me. And that's quite a full circle. In 30 years. I mentioned Estes rockets earlier, and in a way, raising Alex and our other two children is kind of like that. It's like an Estes rocket adventure kit. The kit basically comprised Emerchi and I, and we bought into the ideal of love, marriage, and family because we had our parents' example, we had our church, we had our own view of course, how that should be done. But you open up the kit, you put together the launch pad, and you wire up the controls, which I relate to dating, love, and the wedding, and marriage. And then you make a rocket. And that's our baby. You take the care and the time to build it right and true. You set it on the launch pad of life and attach the little fragile gator clips leads to the engine. You turn on the key. And there's a little light bulb that turns on and confirms the circuit. And you slowly count down to 10. Now, of course, for Alex, it was about 25 or 26 countdown, and those were in years. But you let them push the button, and off that rocket goes. There's a parachute built in, and it may or may not deploy. You don't really know if it'll work or not until they actually push that button. You watch the engine ignite, you smell the acrid smoke, and you hear the engine roar up. And the rocket lifts off in a flash, and it's gone, out of sight. There's nothing left but a contrail. You shield your eyes from the sun, you try to track it. You watch it more as a bystander than a creator. If the chute deploys, then you can run around and behind it and help catch it if it falls. Or it'll go on and maybe you'll never see it again. Or it gets stuck in a tree too tall to climb. There really are no guarantees, are there? You've done your due diligence, you try and you pick the angle, the weather, the wind, etc. But then the elements and the environment of life take over. And there you are. You're left with only the fragile beauty of the moment. Our job is done here, and yet we've lost the pleasure of experiencing the longevity and the satisfaction of seeing our son mature and grow into his roles as a husband and as a father. I can't sympathize, I can only empathize, but knowing you have a fatal disease ahead of time allows one to concentrate and focus on what's important, I suppose. Of course, on the flip side, it's an anvil, and you carry that on one's shoulders for the entire length of this journey known as brain cancer. But I guess that's what life is, isn't it? It's a balancing act of good and bad, and in between, and the unknown. It brings us back to an R. Kelly song from Space Jam, and yes, this rocket analogy. I believe I can fly. Well, our son has flown. He's flown through that open door. I witnessed it. You've all seen it. For Alexander Ezra Diver, when you are ready. I still have that rocket kit in the attic, and standing by to break it out for yet another launch. Only this time our role will be the weathered veterans, aka grandparents, aunts, uncles, great uncles. We will do our best, Alex, in your name. Thank you all for this indulgence, and God bless you all. Thank you.